All right, St. Louis, it was a lot of fun, but now it's time to head on up to Chicago and start Route 66 tomorrow. But I'm going to check out a few things in Chicago first. So let's head up that way. But my first stop this morning is going to be in Effingham, Illinois. So after spending yesterday in St. Louis, I decided that I would stay the night in Illinois. Yeah, just across the river from St. Louis, but in Collinsville, Illinois. I've done it a few times when I've been through town, especially if I'm going to continue on east from there. Makes it a quick and easy getaway because then you don't have to make your way through town. As you can see, it's fast. Just dump right onto 70 and away I go. I was heading towards the town of Effingham. Effingham is just up the road a ways. Now, what did I know about Effingham? Well, not a whole effing lot, to be honest with you. I've driven through there a few times on my way from Chicago to St. Louis. I've made that drive more than a few times through the years, but I'd never really stopped there, except for, if I remember right, there's a truck stop somewhere right out there. So I did that, and that was it. But this time, there was something specific that I wanted to take the time and go see. Because, you know, it's one of those things that while you might catch a glimpse of it from off the freeway, it's a whole different thing when you're standing right there and taking a look at it yourself. So that's what I wanted to do. And while it was slightly out of the way for where I wanted to go, wasn't too far. So I went and made a stop. I'm in Effingham, Illinois, and that's the Cross of the Crossroads. It is the second largest cross in America. The biggest one is actually in Branson, Missouri. The next one after that is in Groom, Texas. The Cross of the Crossroads stands at 198 feet tall with a span of 113 feet. It was built intentionally that big so it would be bigger than the one in Groom, Texas. Now, if you saw my Route 66 video when I went through Groom, Texas, I made a stop at that cross as well. I'll link that video at the end of this one so you can check it out. But this one is built enough to where it can withstand up to 145 mile an hour winds. It's a little tricky to get to it. I mean, really, you just got to just keep it in your eyes and just drive to it, right? But it's not easily accessible off the freeway. You got to wind around through some farm country, but you'll get there, and when you do, it's quite impressive. After leaving the Cross of the Crossroads, I was back out on the interstate, and holy cow, what is this guy losing? I hope it's nothing he really needed, and then again, I hope it's not his sewer tank either, because ew. But my first stop was going to be on the south side at this place called Buona, however you pronounce it. I don't know how you pronounce it, but they have amazing food. They're known for their Italian beef, but I was there for the vegan Italian beef. Yeah, when I used to eat meat, I would love to get me an Italian beef sandwich when I was in Chicago. Haven't had one for years until I found out they make an amazing vegan one. After lunch, my next stop was just a few minutes up the road. I'm on the south side of Chicago, and that is Guaranteed Rate Field, home of the Chicago White Sox. The stadium was built as Comiskey Park 2, basically, I think it was. It was built in 1991. I've been to a few games inside there. It is the last of its kind. It was the last of the cookie cutter, huge ballparks, right? Camden Yards came in shortly after and revolutionized the way we look at ballparks. My first game there was May 2nd, 2002, when I saw the Mariners play the White Sox, the night that Mike Cameron hit 4 home runs in a single game. Also in that game, Mike Cameron and Brett Boone of the Mariners were the first and so far only that I know of teammates to ever hit home runs back-to-back twice in a single inning. Yep, it happened in the first inning. They did it. Never has it happened again as far as I know. But walking around the outside here, they've got their retired numbers. Frank Thomas, Paul Konerko, Jackie Robinson, and several others, including Pudge right here. Oh, Carlton Fisk.
This is the site of the old Comiskey Park here in Chicago. Right behind me, right down here, is where home plate was many, many years ago. And you could see off to my side, first base line, third base line. It's really cool how they keep it marked like this for people to come and check out. You know, longtime fans of baseball just like myself.
I never made it to a game at Comiskey Park. That was long before my first trip to Chicago ever, so this was kind of cool to get to at least stand there and see where home plate once was and where that stadium was. Now, I watched many a games there, many a games on TV, but never made it there myself, as I said. So it was really neat to get to come and experience that. This infield here has kind of got like a cork feeling almost to it, right? It's kind of neat. Enjoyed my time walking around ballpark, but now I was going to head into downtown Chicago to check out the sights and get ready for the rest of my trip. As I've said previously, I've been to Chicago many times through the years, but I always still love checking things out, like Soldier Field right here. I love the architecture. The Shedd Aquarium, or of course here, the Adler Planetarium. Yeah, I haven't been there in many years. I love this view overlooking the lake. And do you see that building out there? I'll zoom in on it here in a moment, but just check out that downtown skyline there. Fantastic. But this one right here to the right-hand side, now I'm going to come in on it. That's the building where I was on 9/11. Well, not that one. That's the Navy Pier, obviously. It's the one at the base of it. I'm getting there. I just jumped ahead of myself a little bit. But I was there for 9/11 in the 63rd floor, I believe it was, maybe 64. Holy cow. Yeah, we got the heck out of there and went to the burbs. That was kind of freaky. But yeah, Chicago is an amazing, amazing town. If you haven't ever spent any time there, you really got to go check things out. I mean, I just love going there. This is my second trip this year. I don't live that far away from it now in Oklahoma City, so I love getting up there when I can and seeing things like this, the Buckingham Fountain. Now, most people recognize it, of course, from Married with Children. Yeah, that's what they call the Bundy Fountain, right? So I was stuck in traffic, so I was able to get a little bit of video. Traffic does suck, but the weather was amazing. It was Labor Day, so, you know, everybody was out because it was such great weather. Made my first stop by the Bean this trip. Yeah, that's kind of cool, really a neat thing. But then I headed into downtown a little further. I was looking for something specific, and it's right behind me.
I'm in Chicago at the corner of Michigan and Adams, and that right there is the beginning of Route 66. Tomorrow morning, I'll start my drive.
After checking out the beginning of Route 66, I'm so excited to be doing this trip. But after I checked that out in downtown and went to Millennium Park and all that good stuff, I went and checked into my hotel. I'm staying at the Residence Inn in downtown Chicago. You know, it cost me a little bit more than I usually like to pay, but look at this place. Yeah, actually I got a screaming deal as a travel agent. I think I paid $65 for the night. I'm perfectly fine with that because it puts me right in the middle of downtown and not that far at all from where Route 66 begins. So that was kind of my plan, was to be able to just find a place down there so I can just take it easy that night and early the next morning start my trip on Route 66. So that's what I did. And this place was a heck of a lot better than I thought it would be, especially for a travel agent rate. Holy Moses. Before my night was over, I did go back out, checked out the town a little bit, walked around with everything lit up at night, and I went and found me some pizza, because you just can't come to Chicago without having pizza. So I grabbed me a Malnatis, and oh man, it's just a veggie, but that's what I want. And I had to nurse my blisters and my feet to get ready for the trip because, oh my, just look at that. But tomorrow starts the real fun.